Hi, I'm Mark Ottobre and welcome to today's video. Today's video is 5 ways to lose stubborn belly fat. So let's start with point number 1. Point number 1 is avoid foods or get rid of foods entirely that cause the bloat. So what are some foods that cause the bloat? Now it can be somewhat individual to the person. So one thing that I will recommend is keeping a bit of a notepad or a journal and a log. And the reason why I keep a log, I say to people, imagine if you're in business, how do you know your sales? Well, you obviously have to record them. What you manage, you must measure. So if you want to understand the foods that are causing you to bloat and causing you ill stress of the body, keeping a log and linking those foods and seeing how you feel. So often foods that do cause bloat are things like commercial dairy, gluten, wheat, soy. These foods, sometimes even caffeine, having too much caffeine can cause it. So looking at the foods and how to replace them, you could replace them with the 4 simple food groups, which are things that are hunted, things that are gathered, things that are fished, and things that are plucked. So hunted, fished, gathered, and plucked, and really eating from those food groups, I suppose, as a long story short. Point number 2 to get rid of the stubborn belly fat is have workouts where it makes you sweat. So as much as I like my low rep training, you really want to have workouts where you are putting up a sweat and doing a bit higher in volume, getting that sweat up. Very, very favorable for body composition. If you look at any exercise that you do, you want to analyze it under time, under tension. Now what that simply means is how long does it take you to perform that set or that exercise. So say for example, if you're doing reps like this, very, very fast, then there's no tempo in that. So you want to implement tempo. Implementing tempo will create a definite time under tension of the exercise, which then will obviously cause more lactic, which usually results in more sweat. So make the workouts longer, not longer in the sense of, but make the sets longer, so creating more tension inside the muscle will obviously get that sweat up and create lactic inside the muscle. So point number 3 is get to bed early. And the reason why you want to get to bed early is because it enables you to handle stress better. Sleeping is when our bodies reset, and also helps us with adrenal recovery. Whole body, that's when we're recovering is when we're sleeping. So getting to bed early, not staying up. If we superimpose the sleep deprivation graph into the obesity graph, there's almost a perfect correlation. So there is something to be said for going to bed early and body composition or favorable body composition. So if you're struggling to lose the stubborn belly fat, getting to bed, getting your sleep organized is something definitely I recommend. What I would recommend is an alarm by Wake Up Bright. Wake Up Bright is an alarm that wakes up or starts to light the room. It's a light alarm rather than a sound alarm. Wakes you up gently, but there's also the reverse setting on that where it can start to fade and you can fall asleep with it as well. So very, very good for, I suppose, controlling the lighting in your room. Point number 4, keep it clean, which does somewhat relate to point number 1, which is avoid foods, but keep it clean, keep your foods simple, don't add sauces and all these kind of things to your meals. Keep your food relatively clean, simple, easy. And point number 5, which it relates to point number 4 as well, is routine. There's something about routine. When do you eat? Mapping out your day. What time do you wake up? What time do you go to bed? When are you going to eat? Decide that in advance. People often think of willpower as this infinite source of energy. The reality is willpower is not an infinite source of energy. It does weigh on us. We all have a finite amount of decision-making ability. So in saying that, what we want to do is set a routine, follow the routine, and be structured. But obviously that routine has to make sense, and that routine has to be indicative of the results we want to get. For example, it's not just enough to have routine if we're eating Nutella sandwiches, every 2 hours. That's not going to get us the body composition results that we want either. So what we need is a good routine, but avoiding foods obviously that make us bloat. Pick from the 4 food groups: hunted, fished, gathered, and plucked, and structure it simply and simple enough so you can follow. I hope you've enjoyed these 5 tips, and I'll see you on the next video.